Your child arrives with 400 plus traits already encoded in their DNA. So you can't engineer who they become. Welcome to the Connect Method Parenting Podcast, where correction is out, connection is in, and your kids want to listen to you. I'm Andee Martineau, creator of Connect Method Parenting, here to help you stay calm, confident, and connected no matter what. Hey, everybody. How are you? I am enjoying the 4th of July weekend. You're going to get this on the Monday after the 4th of July weekend, but I'm popping in really quick to my studio to wrap up the episodes. I've had such a fun day. I have this project in my house I've been putting off, and I went to IKEA today to get the things that I need to do the project tomorrow. I spent 5 hours in IKEA. Oh my goodness, 5 hours in IKEA. I can't believe I spent that much time in there. So after all of that, and because we live up in the mountains, getting back to my house was bananas because everyone comes up to where we are. I shouldn't say everyone, but there are a ton of people that come up to where we are because there's parks and trails and a river and all sorts of fun stuff to do. And as I got closer to where we live, I started to see how bad the traffic was and the parking was crazy. I was really happy to pull into my driveway and to sit down in my chair for a minute to just talk to you. I have so many cool things in store for you all on the podcast. And today I was going to release something else, but instead I thought I would drop a little bit of the listening lab workshop that I taught on the 2nd. People really enjoyed it. I loved unpacking attachment theory, developmental psychology, the principles, the philosophy, the science behind Connect Method Parenting in a way that I haven't done before. So I'm so excited for you to get a taste of it. If you want to catch the whole thing, I'll put the link in the show notes, or you can go to cmp.works/listen to get access to it. Without further ado, let's cut to the episode. One of the core tenets is that togetherness is more essential than food and water. And I want to be clear, and we're going to unpack that statement. If you're listening to me say that and thinking, what is she talking about? Even if you've been with me for a while, this is a bold statement that our brain might be resistant to wrap itself around. So togetherness is more essential than food and water. And I'm going to explain that. That's not according to Andee, that's according to Dr. Neufeld, who is an esteemed, amazing psychologist who is really spent his life work putting together the pieces of attachment theory in the most complete way, in my opinion. Now, I want to be clear, Connect Method Parenting isn't soft parenting. A lot of times people will hear when I say correction isn't something we want to go to first. Punishments aren't the key, and they'll think, well, you're just going to let them run all over the place. It's very sturdy parenting, and it's backed by neuroscience. It's compassionate and firm. Now, I also want to be clear as we're talking about this, and this is very important that we're laying this foundation to be able to do the 3L method with the right way of being. We need to remind ourselves that we are a gardener, not a sculptor. We're a shepherd, not an engineer. Your child arrives with 400 plus traits already encoded in their DNA. So you can't engineer who they become. That is baked into them. The blueprint already exists. What you can give them is something that they can't survive without. Connection is their oxygen, and we need to cultivate togetherness, which I use interchangeably, synonymous to me with connection, attachment, and togetherness. I'll use them interchangeably throughout our lesson today, but we need to cultivate togetherness like their life depends on it, because it does. Because that is how we're going to allow them to fulfill their potential. Without connection at its root, nothing else can take root. And I have 11 tenets of Connect Method Parenting I'm going to go over very briefly, and you're going to see how we expand on these in the next hour. The first one, again, togetherness equals survival, more essential than food and water, not a luxury, not a reward. I want you to think of it like oxygen. It is absolutely essential. Dr. Neufeld often says, togetherness serves survival. Without it, nothing else matters. There's been studies, you can go Google them, in orphanages where they had babies that were fed, that were clothed, that were taken care of, protected from the elements, and a very, very high percentage of them still did not survive. And it wasn't for lack of food and water. It was because they were rarely touched. There was no attachment. It surprised everybody because they didn't realize at the time, they couldn't make sense of it. But now looking at it with the lens of attachment, with the new stuff we know about neuroscience, with all of the information we have about our limbic system, which is the emotional center of our brain, we now understand why that happened. And it was the lack of attachment. So at the root of everything, we have to understand how important the relationship we have with our child is. Now, that doesn't mean we let them get away with everything. It just means that we're really attuned and looking at that relationship so that it doesn't become a secondary thing and that telling our kids what to do and not to do becomes primary. That is going to never get them to listen well to us. Number 2, you are their weather, meaning your inner climate becomes their atmosphere. They live in the emotional environment you create. Now, don't be weighed down by that. Be, I would say, emboldened by it. And we have tools that really focus on how we're showing up, how we're being, how we're thinking, how we're perceiving things. Because if we're a mess, if we're triggered, mirror neurons are in our brain sending out messages to our kids. They're going to feel it. Number 3, they're doing their best in this moment. I didn't put that because it gets really long, but I do want to make sure you're clear on that. I'm not saying this is their best. I'm saying they're doing their best in this moment. So if they're having a breakdown, if they're yelling, if they're frustrated, if they're not listening, there is a reason why they are being throttled from their best in this moment. And in lockstep with that, behavior is information, not defiance, not manipulation, communication. Every behavior tells you about something that's not working for your child. Number 4, I believe, no strings attached, meaning connection has to come without conditions. This doesn't mean privileges come without conditions. This doesn't mean you let them run all over you. This just means connection comes without conditions. Love without scorecards. Your relationship stays solid regardless of what they do, regardless of how terrible they acted today or how big of a tantrum they pulled. Connection without conditions. Mad needs sad. Now, if you've been working with me for a while, you know exactly what I'm talking about here. If not, you might be very confused. But there is this trip that Dr. Neufeld described as going from mad to sad. In adults, it might look like resistance to surrender. It is absolutely necessary for emotional maturity. Emotions are fuel for maturity. Tears heal. We need to welcome all emotions in to do their work. This is so not understood. We want to teach emotional maturity. We want to give them the skills to be emotionally mature. I hear people talk about that all of the time. It is not a skill. It is a process that they have to go through over and over and over again. And yes, skills come out of it because they are the fruit of the process. So we need to feel the whole trip from mad to sad. I think we'll go into this a little bit later. If not, come listen to my podcast or come join Pivot later and we'll dive into this. It's life-changing to understand that it actually is the process of feeling our emotions all the way through that matures us up. It actually makes a lot of sense, but it's not something we're typically taught. And before I move on, I'll just say this really quickly, that emotional maturation is spontaneous, but not inevitable, meaning if the environment is right for us or our children to feel our emotions all the way through, the brain changes spontaneously, just like the body grows spontaneously. We don't do anything about that other than make sure, it's fed, but it's doing it spontaneous. Emotional maturation is spontaneous, but it's not inevitable because the situation has to be conducive for someone to feel safe enough to feel their emotions. We need to lead in that. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. Next, when they're at their worst, be at your best. This is, I'm sure, something you've thought of before, right? We want to show up better, more mature. We want to be the most emotionally mature person in the room when our child's struggling. So choose closeness in the chaos. Choose closeness and stay connected when they're having their worst behavior. Your connection is the constant. And I want you to think about it like this. I want your connection with them to be as certain as the sunrise, as solid as the ground beneath their feet. I want you to communicate to them that they can take the relationship with you for granted, not you for granted, but the relationship with you for granted, just like they take for granted the fact that the sun is going to rise every day. Like, that is how secure this feels. And if you feel like, I wonder if my connection with them is that secure, lean into that and try to understand maybe why it might not feel that secure to them. And you can think back to your parents. Was it that secure with you and your parents? And what would it have been like if it was that secure? Next, compassion alpha. We have to lead with strength and kindness. Set limits from love. This isn't soft again. This is sturdy. This is firm. This is the middle way. We're not authoritative. We're not passive. We are setting limits. We are holding boundaries. but we are doing it with loving kindness, with a compassionate alpha. Next, meet them where they're at. So we're going to talk about this in a minute, but attachment has different roots. And so attachment unfolds layer by layer. And there's different places that we're at different times in our life. Understanding, hey, this is where they're at, and meeting them where they're at is very, very powerful. Where they are emotionally, where they are attachment-wise. And it goes back to they're doing their best. If this is their best today, in this moment, can I come alongside their emotion? Can I come alongside their experience? Meeting them where they're at. So powerful. Next, connection first. Everything else follows. We have to be reigniting the attachment instincts throughout the day. You might have an amazing relationship with your child, but if in that moment things are off and the attachment instincts aren't activated, it's going to be very challenging to get them to listen to you. So nothing works if attachment is offline. Influence is earned, not inherent. The title parent grants us nothing with our children. They don't have a respect for the title. Whoa, right? That's where we're gonna pause the workshop, but there's so much more goodness in there. If you want to listen to it, go catch the full listening lab workshop so that you can get your kids to want to listen to you. You can learn how to listen profoundly, really help them feel seen and heard, fulfill their potential, all of the good stuff, better relationships, better listening. That's what I have for you inside of the listening lab. I'm so glad I got to give you a sneak peek of 10 minutes of it. I'll drop the link if you want to get access to the full thing in the show notes. You can go to cmp.works/listen. I hope you have the most amazing day. Go connect with your kids. Have so much fun. Enjoy this summer. We'll talk again soon. Bye, guys.
Time to get on up. There ain't nothing you can do about what happened, but there is something you can do about today. Yeah. I know you're feeling caught up in your situation. Your blood and sweat got you feeling some type of way. Just don't forget everything got done. Just don't forget everything you've done. Please remember all your blessings up on you. Don't give up yet. Just do it, come on. Don't give up yet. Just a little longer. Soon we'll be going on our way. Oh yeah.
We're moving on from yesterday. We're gonna throw the towel away. So don't move your body.
So get up on your feet and make a move. Feel the groove. Nobody can do it like you.
We're moving on from yesterday. We're gonna throw the fear away. So don't move your body.
So get up on your feet and make a move. Feel the groove. Nobody can do it like you.
Better than bruise and better than booze. You got this chip on my shoulder, stack of the moolah. Gotta better myself to better my future. But you spoke to my ashes, I see a tulip, okay. But what about my garbage? I hardly spoke to you. I'm the least godly of all these. Why would you want me regardless? A harlot invited to your garden party. It's your kindness stole my heart today. Can't believe I thought you were far away. I know you catch me even when I'm far away. Yeah, feel like I'm far too gone. Afraid that I won't be strong. Feel like a light turn on. Hope for the world's an everlasting bond.
We're moving on from yesterday. We're gonna throw the towel away. So don't move your body.
So get up on your feet and make a move. Feel the groove. Nobody can do it like you.
We're moving on from yesterday. We're gonna throw the fear away. So don't move your body.
So get up on your feet and make a move. Feel the groove. Oh, come on, bam, lay it out now. And everybody sing it out now. Hey.
We're moving on from yesterday. We're gonna throw the towel away. So don't move your body.
So get up on your feet and make a move. Feel the groove. Nobody can do it like you.
We're moving on from yesterday. We're gonna throw the fear away.
Go on now.
Don't move your body.
So get up on your feet and make a move. Feel the groove. And everybody sing it out now.
We are
the moon now.
We are gonna get there someday. We are gonna get there someday. We are gonna get there someday. Soon.
But until then, we gon' shoot for the moon now.
We are gonna get there someday. We are gonna get there someday. We are gonna get there someday. Soon.
But until then, we gon' shoot for the moon now.
Thanks so much for listening, you all. If you are ready to learn more about Connect Method Parenting, if you've been listening to the podcast and you think, ooh, I'd love to be able to implement this in my life and with my parenting more, then check out Pivot. It's my 8-week program where we deep dive into learning and implementing Connect Method Parenting so that you can take this information and transform your parenting journey. Head over to connectmethodparenting.com to find out when the next group starts.